Rob Cornilles, do you approve of that message?
Many times over, Bill.
I thought you might. Just wanted to double check. Somebody didn't take your voice or something.
No, facts are facts. I approve of facts.
All right, and that's the truth. Now, listen, we spent some time today, Rob, talking about the whole liar, liar, pants on fire, and we found out that, and we know that Suzanne's a big fan of PolitiFact, and yet it turns out that she was the liar, liar, pants on fire, and you were the true on the meter, and so we talked about that a little bit, but what I wanted to ask you a little bit about was the fact, tell me about the quote-unquote debate today.
Well, actually, we had two opportunities to get together and talk to the voters. One was this morning on a competing station. Can I say that, Bill?
Just don't say which one it was.
All right. It was on a competing station, which, by the way, they're replaying again tonight. That was an hour-long conversation.
All right.
And then I just returned from a Portland Rotary debate in which I found my opponent decided not to show up, even though it had been on both calendars for almost 2.5 months.
Wow.
So I got to tell you, Bill, this was the same organization that invited me to debate the congressman, the last congressman, in 2010, and he didn't show up either. So when I looked across the stage, I saw an empty podium. I thought, this is deja vu all over again.
He should get a pants on fire for that, don't you think?
How about a rim shot?
Well, we're looking for some. I don't know. He's over there messing around. I don't know what he's doing, Justin. He's over there. We have something just for you. When we've decided, whenever somebody says something really, really good, we give them this.
I'm so not ready for this.
Oh, this is great. You can't remember where it's at?
Rob, pants are on fire.
Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
That's actually a compliment. We've turned it around. It's a compliment now. When you say something really good that scores, you get a pants on fire.
Awesome. I'm not going to take it any further than that, by the way.
Okay, so you're standing there looking at a blank or an empty podium next to you.
Yeah.
What do they do? They say, Mr. Cornilles, this question's for you. I mean, what else do they do?
Well, they just asked me the questions, gave me 2 minutes to answer each, and then they went on to the next question.
That is so weird.
It was a great opportunity for a ballroom of people in Portland to hear how I view the issues and how I would represent them, what we're going to do to make sure that government's more helpful to job creation in our private sector, and make sure that regulations don't strangle the economy. And we had a whole host of questions ranging from with all kinds of subjects and issues. And a lot of people expressed their appreciation afterwards, as well as their support and vote, even people who don't share my party affiliation.
Well, I'll tell you, it's just there's been so much stuff lately. It seems like it all started in the last 2 days. Finally, national attention. Finally. Now, I think part of that, Rob, is due to the fact that for the rest of the country, Election Day is January 31st in their minds. For us, we know Election Day started a couple of days ago, really.
Yeah, that's a good point, Bill. I think, there's a lot of people around the country who just forget that we start voting almost 2.5 weeks prior to Election night. But I will tell you, I was just having this conversation with a member of my staff. I am truly convinced that the reason why the National Party has decided to help, and all they're doing, you must know, is they're just helping us to put that ad on television more frequently. They're not deciding, the message that I'm going to be talking about. They're not dictating how our campaign is run. They're simply making sure that we're on television more, because obviously people need to know about my opponent's record.
Yeah.
But I was going to say the reason why they're getting involved is because of the supporters and the donors that are contributing to our campaign, the people who are volunteering for us. They see and feel the energy that we have behind this campaign, and it's being well chronicled all over the country. And so I just take my hat off to all of those people who have stepped up to help us, even as we speak. And I'm asking anyone who recognizes this is a great chance for us to get this seat back to please help us in any way they can over the next 2 weeks.
I think it was, I think if I get the name right, Jim Garrity, I think it was, wrote about this on National Review today. And that was huge.
Well, I haven't seen that piece. I have heard that we've had several national publications who have been talking about the fact that this race is basically a statistical dead heat, and it is, and it's we've now got some science behind what we've been feeling and sensing for several days, even the last few weeks, and again, people are ready for a change. They're holding my opponent accountable for the things that she's done in Salem and the things that she did to cover up for the last guy, and they're saying we're tired of more of the same. Enough's enough. Let's go a different direction.
You know, the interesting thing, Rob Cornilles again was talking to right now. Most of these national stories that I'm reading have figured out literally. They're just, I mean, how this is a carbon copy of the New York 9 race. They're pointing out how last election. Turner lost by this much, and then he was down by this much, and then he caught up this much, and then he won by this much, and it's like, Anthony Weiner resigned, David Wu resigned. I mean, it's literally carbon copy, and we hope that it carbon copies right on through January 31st.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think there are a lot of similarities, but we cannot be complacent. We certainly cannot think that this thing is a given. It's not.
No.
I mean, if you believe the polls, I'm still behind. But not by much, and so we've got to do everything we can. We have to work together to communicate this message to voters. Insist that Republicans vote. Don't let your friends get away without voting, and invite independents or non-affiliated voters. Invite Democrats to consider that if they're serious about making sure something gets done in Congress in a bipartisan or even a nonpartisan fashion, let's start right here in this election by voting in a nonpartisan way and doing what's best for the district, not what's best for a party.
I want you to know, yesterday towards the end of the show, got an email from good old Vern out in Dundee, Oregon, right on the fringe of the 1st District, and he said, Bill, next time you talk to Rob, tell Rob there are 2 votes in this House that went his way, and he put them in the mail today.
Way to go, Vern. I appreciate it. And by the way, someone who will be very disappointed to hear that is Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if you've told your listeners yet, but she basically announced over the weekend that she's putting $200,000 in negative ads against me, which will be starting here any day. So it's almost $2 million of negative advertising, both in the mailboxes and on television, that my opponent's friends and super PACs have been throwing my way. And I think voters are just saying, you know what, we don't believe it anymore. You tried to fool us about David Wu. You're not going to fool us about Rob Cornilles.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, Rob, we'll continue to talk. I mean, it's starting. The clock is ticking, and it's
yes, sir.
Man, a lot to do yet.
So Cornilles for Congress. Get on our website. Tell us how you can help us. We'd really appreciate it. And thank you again, Bill, for the chance to talk with you and your listeners.
As always, my pleasure. You take care, Rob.
Bye-bye now.
All right. Rob Cornilles, running for Congress, 1st Congressional District. I don't know how many more times we got to talk about it, but we're going to. We're going to talk about it a lot.